Tisztelt Excellenciák, tisztelt Hölgyeim és Uraim, kedves barátaim! Megtiszteltetés számomra, hogy ma itt üdvözölhetem Önöket ezen a csodálatos és történelmi rezidencián. Idén ünnepeljük a rezidencia fennállásának 100. évfordulóját. Az 1925-ben magyar arisztokraták által épített épület több mint 75 éve a mindenkori brit nagykövet otthona. Ez a rezidencia a legjobb szimbóluma az Egyesült Királyság és Magyarország közötti kapcsolatának. Ma ófelsége 3. Károly király születésnap, ami sok szempontból a nemzeti ünnepünk is. Ez lesz az utolsó királyi születésnapi pártim is, mivel 5 év után, szeptemberben elhagyom Budapestet. Kérem, engedjék meg, hogy az egyszerűség kedvéért a továbbiakban angolul folytassam. Köszönöm szépen! Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to welcome you to the residence for this celebration of His Majesty's birthday, where the 4 nations of the United Kingdom come together in celebration of the official birthday of our monarch, King Charles III. This celebration would not have been possible without our platinum and gold sponsors, Diageo, Rolls-Royce, SMR, British International School Budapest, Danubius Hotels Group, Menzies Aviation and Shell. I would also like to thank all our other sponsors. I would also like to thank Alila Samel for her wonderful rendition of the national anthems. Please give her another round of applause. There we go. You did it, Sammy. There we go. Above all, I'd like to thank my team for all their hard work in making the residence look so special today. And finally, I'd like to thank you, my guests, for being here. This includes 7 young women who won our Ambassador for a Day competition by writing about women who inspired them, and they are certainly inspirational in their own right. And they're standing there all lined up, so please. Thank you very much, ladies. In His Majesty's birthday, we're also marking 100 years of the residence. Built in 1925 by the Skytowskis, a Hungarian aristocratic family who had to flee Hungary after the war, it's been the home of the British ambassador since 1946. It was first offered to the American ambassador, who refused it as being too small and in too bad a condition. I think the UK got the better deal there, so I'd like to offer special thanks to my American colleagues for making today possible. Thank you very much. The British government bought the house in the late 1960s, so it is truly British territory. However, I consider us to be the custodians of this small but important piece of Hungarian history, which has seen so much in the past 100 years, from political salons in the 1930s to Russian troops in the 1940s to prime ministers, kings and queens since then. It has also survived my cat, Kiwi, who has used much of the furniture as scratching posts over the last 5 years. I'm sure the Foreign Office in London will be pleased to see the back of her, as will my corporate services team. But it has been a privilege to call this beautiful house my home, and I welcome you all here today to enjoy what it has to offer. It's been another eventful year, which has seen so much change and turmoil in the world. This has impacted upon the relationship between Hungary and the United Kingdom. I mean, in April, we saw the latest edition here in Budapest of our bilateral forum, the Chain Bridge Forum, named in honour of the first bridge to span the Danube in Budapest, designed by an Englishman and built by a Scotsman, a fitting symbol of the relationship between our two countries. This is a forum where we can strengthen existing cooperation, but also explore where key events in a constructive manner based on mutual respect. It built on some key events of the past year where Hungary took on the presidency of the EU and hosted the fifth meeting of the European Political Community in November, which the Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, attended. This forum demonstrates the breadth of our relationship. Our commercial relationship continues to grow. A number of major British investors operate in Hungary, such as our sponsors BP, Diageo, Ernst & Young, Provident and Unilever. Indeed, another of our sponsors, Shell, also celebrates 100 years in Hungary this year. The UK is one of the biggest investors in Hungary, with investments worth over £3 billion, and British companies in Hungary employing around 55,000 people. And the value of the trade relationship in 2024 was worth over £8 billion, an increase of 20% on the previous year. The UK supports Hungary's energy security and net zero efforts, offering solutions for nuclear fuel diversification and green electricity generation. Rolls-Royce is a leader in this field with its small modular reactor offer and was this week selected by the British government to develop SMRs in the UK. I hope Rolls-Royce can do the same here in Hungary. We look forward to working to develop this mutually beneficial relationship in the years to come. It is a relationship based on strong people-to-people links. I'd like to thank my colleagues at the British Council who work with my embassy to develop and promote educational links between our two countries and develop the cultural relationship. I'd also like to thank Hungarian alumni of British universities and institutions for being effective ambassadors for British education. Our close relationship with the Hungarian Association of British Alumni continues to promote the UK's educational offer. And again, I'd like to thank our Hungarian host for welcoming so many British tourists, which remains a bit of a mixed blessing. It is a relationship based on ensuring each other's security. We are both members of NATO. This organisation, which provides our security, is more important than ever. We have now entered the fourth year of war, following Russia's illegal and unprovoked attack on its neighbour, Ukraine. This, without doubt, remains the defining issue of our times. It continues to be a direct challenge to the international rules-based order. The Ukrainian people continue to resist. Their very right to exist as a nation and as a people continues to be at stake. They deserve and need the support of those of us who believe in democracy, the rule of law and justice. We, in the United Kingdom, want to see this conflict end as soon as possible. We applaud the efforts of President Trump to bring this about. However, it is clear that Putin is not interested in ending this war. He will continue to delay, to prevaricate, make more unreasonable demands, while continuing to conduct his war, which is taking so many lives. If one party is in the war camp, is suffering from a war psychosis, that party is not in Brussels or in London, but in Moscow. We in Europe need to unite in the face of this threat, for if Putin is rewarded for his aggression, who is next? Where is next? That is why Prime Minister Starmer is at the forefront of the creation of a coalition of the willing, working with close allies to ensure our security. That is why we have pledged to increase our defence spending, given the very real threat we face. That is why we are committed to NATO, reinvigorated by new members, deriving its strength from a unity of purpose and resolve. That is why we continue to support Ukraine investment, fight against tyranny. Investing in Ukraine's security is an investment in our security. All this reflects the continuing strength of the UK, who, as a permanent member of the UN Security Council and as a member of the G7, promotes global security and prosperity. As I said, this will be my last King's birthday party. It has been a privilege and an honour to serve here as the British ambassador in what has been a crucial time in Hungary's history and in Britain's relationship with her. I arrived in the middle of the pandemic, which upended all of our lives, and during the endgame of Brexit negotiations between the UK and the EU, which certainly upended my life. I was here when war broke out in Europe, the largest conflict on our continent since the Second World War, a conflict which is testing the international rules-based order and upending global geopolitics. For me, it has been the best of times and the worst of times. Professionally, this has been the most rewarding assignment of my career in a country that matters and provokes so much interest. Personally, it has had its tragic points with the loss of my wife Vicky to cancer last year. Not only is my time in Hungary coming to a close, but also my career in the diplomatic service. I would say I am ending on a high. As I see my exit rapidly approaching, I believe Hungary faces some key decisions. This is a country which I have grown to love over the past 5 years. Its history and culture is so rich. Its people so full of talent and potential. However, I have seen a coarsening of political discourse with the intensified use of the harshest type of rhetoric. Minorities are being demonised, as we have seen criminal, banning of pride. Neighbours are being described as disease-ridden criminals. Domestic critics of the government are threatened with being legislated out of existence. I believe a line is being approached which you do not want to cross. But your future is in your hands. The United Kingdom will always be a friend, but we will be a critical friend, developing our relationship on the basis of shared values, mutual prosperity, and in support of collective security. I want to end by offering a toast to His Majesty, but also to Hungary. So please charge your glasses, Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, to His Majesty the King and to Hungary, to the King and Hungary. Thank you.